In an online realm full of pickup artists telling you how to improve your game and get laid, or looks max, information on how to build a lasting relationship with someone is severely lacking. And since I have now spent almost 10 years of my life in serious relationships, even when I wasn't very good looking and had no money, I feel like this is something I can provide some good knowledge in. So first, let me tell you about the relationship aura. There's a certain aura or energy that you can develop that can make it easier for you to find a real relationship, and this aura is incredibly important to understand. It isn't about changing yourself to be someone that you're not, but rather developing a certain skill set that makes women be romantically attracted to you instead of just physically attracted to you. And yes, there is a very big difference, because a lot of women will see a guy and see his personality and the way he carries himself, and they'll think, yeah, I would sleep with him, but I would not be in a relationship with him. So what is this aura that has rightfully coined me as the relationship guy amongst my friends and my peers throughout my life? Well, we can break it down into 4 key traits: confident, kind, ambitious/assertive, and lean in-ness. So let's start with the most obvious one, confidence. Women want a guy that has faith in his abilities, has a high self-worth, and isn't afraid to do the things that he fears most. In other words, she wants a guy that will willingly accept and embrace a challenge that they are afraid of. But it takes a certain mindset along with how you carry yourself in order to really be confident. With every social interaction you end up being in, you need to have the mindset of, no matter what happens in this situation, everyone will go about their day as if nothing happened and are only thinking about themselves more than me. And to really do that, you must start to expose yourself to your biggest fears and insecurities, or do the proper introspection to heal the parts of yourself that have been damaged through traumatic events. By constantly putting yourself in uncomfortable scenarios and building an indifference to the obstacles you will face by doing so, you will then start to realize your true potential and capability, which is a lot more than you currently think. The way in which I've done this the most is through YouTube and cold approaching. Every day I am recording myself on here for potentially millions of people to see, and I have gotten just about every single insult you can think of. And you know what's the biggest thing that all of that has taught me? That nobody is fully secure with every single part of themselves, that most people who judge you are doing so because they aren't fully happy with themselves, and that everyone's reality is completely different, and it always will be. So all you can do with that information is let people dislike you. Being indifferent to being disliked is one of the most attractive traits, not just to women, but humans in general. And this is part of the aura that I feel like I've naturally given off throughout my life, which is this sort of laid-back, stoic personality that many people describe me as having when they meet me. Even though I wasn't really a confident, stoic guy back then when I got my first girlfriend when I was around 15, I still gave off that type of energy that made me seem like I was indifferent to obstacles. And that's why in this regard specifically, I do in fact think you can fake it till you make it, especially when you're trying to shape yourself into a more capable, confident person. Eventually, due to my laid-back, quiet, and calm nature, I actually became the guy who didn't care if he got rejected or didn't worry about what other people thought of him. And that actually led to a peak of interest with my current girlfriend on our first date. I don't remember how this came up in conversation, but after we were dating for a little while, she explained to me that she couldn't even really tell if I was super attracted to her or not because my attitude was so nonchalant and I was kind of just a go with the flow type of dude from the start. And I explained to her that I'd gotten to the point where no matter what happened on this date, no matter if the girl despised me or ghosted me right afterwards, I wouldn't care about the outcome. And when a woman can tell you don't need her validation in order to be happy and confident, that is attractive. Then there's this other part of confidence that comes from healing your mindset that was probably developed due to past trauma. This is something I've explained in countless videos in the past, and it's just far too much to explain here, so if you are interested in watching some of those videos after this video, I'll just leave some links in the description to them. Now, I think it would be stupid for me to not mention at all just how important looks are for dating. Even though this video series is going to be focused on that gap within the relationship dating market on YouTube, which is about actually forming a real relationship, the way you take care of yourself is most portrayed in your physical appearance, and when it comes to your clothes, physique, hairstyle, and facial care, all of these aspects are very important. One thing I really wish I would have started early on in my life is a facial care routine that is specifically for men, and that is why I now use the sponsor of today's video, Tiege Hanley. I don't think you can underestimate just how much having a solid skincare routine can increase your confidence and self-worth. Tiege Hanley provides you with all the products you need if you want to easily wash or moisturize your face without a ton of different steps. I recommend starting with their level 1 system, which comes with a daily face wash, an exfoliating scrub, an AM moisturizer with SPF 20, and a PM moisturizer. I use the face wash almost every day, and the AM moisturizer will always go on every day before I go outside. Having a face moisturizer with SPF in it is so crucial to not aging quickly from the sun. And I am not trying to look like I am 50 years old when I'm 30, and premature aging will come from the sun if you don't have a good AM SPF moisturizer. They have over 5,000 5-star reviews, and as a Tiege Hanley member, you get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price, access to exclusive monthly deals, and free US shipping. The first thing that women are going to notice about you before they even consider going on a date with you is your face, and that is why this is so important to take care of. And because Tiege Hanley is sponsoring this video, they're offering my viewers a great deal. Just click the first link in the description and you'll get 30% off your first box plus a free gift. So don't miss out on this amazing deal. Click that link and get started today. All right, let's move on to the next trait of this relationship aura. Kindness. And this is where the controversy is going to start to kick in. Despite what is said in many realms online, women do not like a straight up asshole. Sure, they might sleep with that guy, but the likelihood of them considering that guy as a romantic partner is much less than the guy who is both kind and assertive. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret about assholes and why this whole narrative about assholes always get the girl has been spreading. Women tend to prefer the because the assholes are usually the ones that have the traits like confidence, dominance, and assertiveness that they're really looking for in a guy. In other words, she's usually willing to put up with the asshole because the asshole at least comes with the traits that most women like, whereas the nice guy comes with none of them. But if you can achieve that balance I just proposed of kindness and assertiveness / dominance, then you will stand out way above both the and the simps. Now, there's a very important distinction we must make here when it comes to being kind versus being nice. A kind man is a gentleman. He helps his woman feel great about herself by giving her compliments. He holds the door for her and drives her home at the end of the night and gets her gifts when it comes to that point in the relationship. He exudes romance by treating her very highly and being chivalrous. Kindness is the result of wanting another person to be happy. It's the result of your cup being so full that you just want to pour it out into other people that you really care about. But a nice man is, for lack of better terms, a simp. He will do things that very clearly show a lack of respect for himself and his time, like agreeing with everything the woman is saying even if he doesn't actually believe what she is saying, sacrificing his necessities, and giving up everything just to be with a woman who doesn't even feel the same way about him. A nice man sets no boundaries when it comes to what he needs, and he always prioritizes the needs of others above himself. He has nothing to pour from his cup. He's trying to get people to pour into his own cup by being as nice as possible. It's quite easy to stand out above guys as a kind man because most women can tell when a guy is just craving her attention and validation or just wants to sleep with her. And to be honest, based on what I see, that is most men these days. The energy you give off needs to be one of, I would love to provide an outlet for you with which you will not have to worry or stress as much as you usually do, and you can feel taken care of and feel wanted and appreciated. And you do that while simultaneously knowing your own worth and knowing what it is you want and what you need out of your own life. This is a very delicate balance between being kind, humorous in a way that is not offensive, and dominant and assertive, and it's something that I think you just naturally sort of figure out the more that you converse with women and kind of gauge their reaction to what you say and reflect on what worked and what didn't. But let's help clear up that delicate but sometimes confusing balance with the next trait, ambition / assertiveness. I believe ambition and assertiveness go hand in hand, because what does it really mean to assert yourself? It means to be confident and to not be afraid to stand up for yourself, and the only way you can truly be that is if you have something you care about and you have ambition for. After I made my video on the masculinity crisis and it got a lot of views, YouTube actually allowed me to see which parts of the video were viewed the most and had the best audience retention just by hovering my mouse over a certain part of the video. And to my surprise, the timestamp of the video that was the most viewed was the one titled Assertiveness. So allow me to try and explain this even further than I did in that video and give you a clear example of how to actually be assertive. Let's say hypothetically you're talking with a woman and it somehow gets to the point where you guys are talking about a controversial political topic. She thinks that the wage gap is real and that women in sports deserve to be getting paid more, and you believe the opposite. Little side note here. here, bringing something like this up on the first date, even if that person agrees with you, is not the best decision. I would not do that. But anyway, she says something along the lines of, it's unfair that women in sports aren't getting paid as much as men when they put in just as much work, if not more, to get where they are. A pushover who doesn't actually believe this would say, yeah, I totally agree. Women definitely deserve this. An asshole would say, you're a moron. Women's sports are clearly not as in demand as men's because it's more boring. Obviously, they don't deserve equal pay. And an assertive man would say, I can understand your viewpoint. However, the market and the demand of the sport is ultimately what is deciding the pay. As unfortunate as it is, people get paid based on the demand and value of something in a market. And most people just don't watch women's sports. That's why they don't get paid as much. Can you spot the difference between the first two responses and the last one? The last one was communicated in a well-respected, open-minded manner while still being firm in one's point of view, even if it wasn't agreeable. That shows that you have a level of emotional maturity that most people lack, and that is attractive. Most guys I know are really lacking in emotional maturity because they don't allow themselves to feel their emotions, and then they come out in terrible ways because they haven't allowed themselves to process those emotions. And then the most simple and mundane of things trigger them, and they just turn into this really emotional, angry type of person. The words you use, the tone of voice you inflect while expressing your point, and your body language also should not come off as aggressive, but rather attentive, understanding, and unthreatening. This type of assertive energy is given off when you sit or stand tall, you face your date, and you maintain eye contact, and you have open body posture while not being too angry, but also not being too super agreeable and simpy, like saying, oh yeah, totally, you're right about everything, haha. And contrary to what you might think, when you realize you are wrong and you admit it and you apologize for it, that is still being assertive. Now let's get more into ambition. Before you even consider getting into dating, I think the majority of you need to have something you are willing to put above all else. A mission that you would like to dedicate your current self to that will provide value to both yourself and others. Now, what that mission looks like can take on many different forms depending on your interests. But what is important, and dare I say crucial to being attractive towards a woman, is having something going on in your life and something you are striving towards. Now, it isn't necessary to already be successful in that thing. Yes, it does make it easier to find a woman who's attracted to you if you are already successful and have the money and status to back that up, but having some sort of purpose, even if you aren't successful in that thing yet, shows you have the drive and confidence towards your life that she is really looking for. In other words, and I know this is really shocking stuff, girls don't want to date bums. It's nearly impossible for you to truly be assertive and kind if you haven't yet taken care of yourself and worked on yourself first. So if you don't have that mission yet, you really need to try many different things and see what interests you the most, then create a passion out of one or two of those interests. This is a part you can't overthink, and I have said this in my Why You Have No Personality video, but you do not find your passion, you make your passion. Look at things you are interested in, try a few of them, pick out the one that stands out the most and that you think, maybe I can turn this into a passion eventually, and you just consistently do it until you see measurable progress in it, and then you decide, well, this is something that I might see myself pursuing for potentially years, and in that regard, you have made your passion, you didn't find it, and that's what you have to do. And that purpose or mission will allow you to be more confident, it will make you not always available, it will make you more restrictive with your time and your boundaries, and it will develop a more dominant nature in you that most women are attracted to. And this leads me to the last and most subjective trait of this aura that one can give off to be more attractive, and that is lean in-ness. I know this word was probably confusing to a lot of you, but it's kind of a term that I just randomly coined that makes sense for this, but basically what it is that you are leaning into your unique strengths and personality traits, aka the stuff that makes you, and separates you from the general population. A good example of this is one of my friends who is a literature geek. He is the most typical literature philosophy type dude you can think of, with a scrawny build, glasses, a boyish face, and he even wears sweater vests with long sleeve shirts. But the thing is, girls can't stop simping over him, and that is because he fully leans into who he is and what he likes, and he isn't afraid to embrace it. And it shows that he is intelligent and passionate about something, which we have already learned is very attractive. And not only that, but it also attracts the type of women who would be more compatible with him in the first place, and acts as this sort of filter. Because he so much so leans into being the literature philosophy nerd, and he is confident in his unique interests, he is going to naturally attract the girls that are specifically into that type of guy. And the girls that are specifically into that type of guy will have an above average attractiveness towards him than your average run-of-the-mill guy. And as a side plus, it'll be much easier for him to form a deep connection with someone he has similar interests with. Now, as a result of not being the most masculine Chad type dude, this will narrow down his options quite significantly. But the quality of those options and the chance of him connecting with someone on a deeper level is much higher because he is really leaning into his own personality. This same phenomenon can be seen in many different funny pickup style videos on YouTube. Some of these guys flirt in a kind of awkward, weird way that most would consider to be totally unmasculine, but it works because that is who they are, and the woman can tell they aren't faking it.
I like your skates!
Thanks, I like your face. I'm like just starting to practice, ride this wave. Honestly, now that I got your number, I'm probably just gonna go home. That's all I need.
Other guys do a more humorous approach because that is who they are, and that is what a certain subset of women will be attracted to as well.
Oh my God, what a coinky dink. Yeah, I don't actually know you. How tall are you, Olivia? Let's get you on the ground there. Just so we say, ooh, okay. Not bad for a girl. You got good height.
Thank you.
Should hang out sometime, you know?
Yeah.
Basically what I'm saying is you need to have a personality, lean fully into it, and develop it and embrace it more. I remember I used to hate the fact that I was the introverted, never really speaks, chill guy because I never really stood out or was the life of the party. You know, no one ever really noticed me, and I wanted to change that, but every time I tried to fake being the over-the-top, extroverted, super sociable guy, it just came off as kind of weird and ingenuine, and it definitely did not help me attract any more women. But when I started to embrace the fact that I am a very chill, nonchalant, stoic guy, and I really leaned into that, I had a much easier time attracting women and finding women who I would really connect with and be attracted to because they were already attracted to that type of guy. Now, this is where a lot of guys say, okay, cool, Cole, but what if my passions and interests are related around video games or construction tools or something else that women are not interested in at all? To that, I would say your options will probably be slimmer than the stereotypical Chad who is an athlete, plays sports, and is interested in mainstream things. But like I said, the quality of those options will be better and you'll attract women that you will have a much easier time vibing with because it will filter out all the women looking for the stereotypical mainstream Chad. And to be honest, your potential partner doesn't even have to particularly be super interested in what you are interested in, but they just need to support you and be attracted to the type of energy and passion you have towards that thing. Now, there are still so many questions that are left unanswered, such as, where should I look for a girlfriend? What should I look for in a girlfriend? Where should I bring her on the first date? How should I talk to her in person versus over text to increase attraction? How and when will I know if she's the right one? And how can I make sure I build a relationship that lasts instead of one that ends after the first argument? These are all questions that I will answer in part 2 of this 2-part video series on how to create a lasting relationship in the modern age. Thank you to all the patrons on this channel on Patreon. If you don't know what this is, it's a platform separate from YouTube where I put out exclusive content. You can also talk to me one-on-one over the phone on there. If you want to check that out, link in the description. If you're having trouble creating any sort of personality and your social skills are completely lacking, check out my entire playlist on this subject for social skills and building relationships with others. I have tons of good videos in there if you're struggling with that, so check that out. And I'm signing off now. I'll see you all in the next video.